What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's the Dynasty front office. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. We are live on the Dynasty Warzone Network. Please like and subscribe. I'm here with two hosts, co-hosts tonight. Of course, always the auspicious Austin Bell. How are you tonight, Austin?
Oh man, I'm pretty good. It's ending rookie draft, but we did the smart thing and did a startup draft, teaser for the episode. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm great. We had to have something to talk about. So we had a startup. Have you caught your breath from your basketball game yet?
Yeah, it went all right. We lost. It was a playoff game.
Sorry.
It's all right. We had one guy on the team went crazy, looked like JJ Redick out there on the other team. So just one of the nights.
God, there's no worse look right now than JJ Redick. Well, I guess that. Yeah. I mean, the GM of the Mavs is looking pretty good.
He's probably,
He's looking a lot better.
True. Worked out for him pretty good.
All right, and we have a special guest tonight. Chad's sick. Mike is graduated from the Army. I forget.
Yeah, and went to SeaWorld as a gift for himself.
Yeah. So in their place, we have the infamous at VIP Matt. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good. Nice to be along with you guys.
I didn't mean to say your name twice.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's just because I was trying to say your last name and I realized I don't know it.
Well, he could say it for you. You still wouldn't know it. It's okay.
Yeah. Last name's Janachko.
Janachko. Okay.
Yeah, Czechoslovakian.
Okay. Right on.
So
my last name's Schneeman. Just rolls right off the tongue. All my teachers just said it perfectly.
I bet so.
Really quick story. One of my favorite professors, Dr. Schramm, taught an AP European history course. Would always warn the other kids in the class not to mess with Mr. Schneeman because all Germans have a sword and a pointy-headed helmet under their beds for protection.
Is it true?
I can't. Well, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, fair enough.
Because if I tell you where all my weapons are, you know what I mean?
Well, if that's all your weapons, you probably have bigger problems. Living in Baltimore, you probably have worse problems if your only weapons are a knife and a pointy helmet underneath your bed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're not going to talk about the rest. All right, guys. But what I do want to talk about, just we've been talking a little bit about Baltimore food lately, but I want to talk about where you guys live. Matt, you're a chef, so I've been told. So you appreciate food. Tell me either the best or the worst meal that you've had in the last week.
Oh, that's tough.
All right, I'll start. You think about it. I'll start.
Gotcha.
We went to a place. I'm not going to call out the name of the place because
they're probably listening. Because
they probably are.
We're that popular.
Yeah. So if you're listening, and we know you are,
yeah,
Sorrento's of Arbutus. Listen, y'all, when I order a sandwich, like a hot sandwich, I ordered a veal parm sandwich. I mean a sub, right? It's supposed to come on a sub roll, not a hamburger bun. It was shocking, right? It was shocking. It came on a hamburger bun, and it was actually real veal. It wasn't like the formed patty or anything, so that was a plus. But it was like an inch and a half thick. They hadn't pounded it out for some reason. And the sauce was like, it was definitely, you could tell they opened the can and threw some oregano and some like red pepper flakes in there.
Yeah. Gave it a little spice, but just a bland taste.
Yeah, it tasted like a metal can. I was really, really upset about it. I ate the whole thing though, because we were going to a movie right afterwards. And speaking of the movie, we'll talk about Thunderbolts at the end of the show. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it was not a good date night because of that. I forget what the wife had, but she liked it. It's generally a good place. But when you order like any kind of parm sandwich, do you expect it to come on a hamburger bun?
No, I've never heard.
Okay, well, this was an argument between me and the wife. She's like, "You ordered a sandwich. What do you expect?" I have to say sub. There's a difference on your menu. If I read your menu wrong and I say sandwich instead of sub, I'm getting it on a crappy bun. Is that how it works? And she insisted that it was my fault.
Can I interject in this real quick?
Yeah, please.
This feels like the definition of grumpy old man. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like I could see you on the movie just chilling right now. Got home complaining about your dinner.
I just spit taked. I have.
That was pretty awesome. That was a good
Yeah. Well, I have an SIR sitting right here.
one. Oh, no big deal. You looked a little bit like Squirtle with water gun.
Yeah, you triggered my water gun attack.
That's what she said.
Nice. Nice squirrel.
Oh, look, right on cue.
Ooh, we're off the rails already. Nice.
Perfect.
We're on brand as hell.
Poncho's on the next podcast.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. So was I right or wrong for ordering it that way?
They should only have a hamburger bun there for burgers.
Yeah, right.
Or if it's like a chicken patty.
She's like, it was a brioche bun. And I was like, okay. I couldn't tell.
Say, okay, Miss Chef.
Yeah, right. Yeah, chef. Oh, VIP. I have a question for you. What do CIA graduates say to Johnson & Wales graduates?
Do not know.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
Oh man.
Jamie's in chat already.
You just couldn't wait for that, could you?
I couldn't.
What's up, Jamie?
I don't know if you went to CIA or not, but I went to Johnson & Wales. So.
Johnson & Wales. That's right around the corner, downtown Charlotte.
Yeah, I went to Providence, so.
I gotcha.
All right, y'all. You guys got anything for me on best or worst meal?
Nothing special, to be honest. Oh, I did. For my birthday, I went to the steakhouse and got sirloin topped fettuccine alfredo. And it smacked.
Okay.
It was really good.
It smacked. You did that on purpose.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't say slapped.
Okay, right on. Okay, I can accept smacked. All right,
All right,
on.
good.
All right. What do you say we talk some startup?
Let's do it.
All right, we did this, y'all, just for you. We weren't going to do any startups, but we needed content, so here we go. This is the Pokemon Legends League. It's actually, we should explain the scoring because it's a little different. It's 0.75 PPR.
Yep.
And then you get an extra point for tight ends. You get an extra 0.25 for wide receivers. Is that right?
Correct.
All right.
And then 0.2 per carry. So it evens out the scoring with that and makes rushing quarterbacks happy that top tier as well.
Right.
It's a little unique, but in reality, it mimics regular PPR pretty similarly. Just kind of bumps up the tight end position and everybody's scoring up a little bit just to make it a little bit more fun. Who doesn't like scoring points?
I didn't think it really bumped the tight end up at all in this draft. To be honest, I was pretty surprised at how long they lasted.
Well, the scoring. People must not have looked hard, but
yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Like Bowers outscored JJ last year, for instance, and it is up there in the tight end, the big boy tight ends. The problem is how many big boy tight ends do we have? It's kind of a discussion we'll have this offseason, I'm sure. Is we know there's 2, but is there 3, 4, or 5, or does it really matter until you get from 3 to 8?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does matter, but it's just so tough figuring out who they're going to be.
Yeah, true.
I think we're pretty confident in 3 guys, right? I mean,
I'm confident in 2. I don't know about you, but
not Kittle.
Sure, but the offense worries me a
Kittle
little bit.
Yeah. I like Kittle every year. He smashes. They just re-signed him. He's ready to rock. I mean, he's going to be hurt for a few games, so be prepared for that.
Yeah, hopefully just a few.
But how Austin, I approach the tight end position as, if you start 1, I'm going to have 3 starters on my roster.
That's right.
All right, so let's just go through it. I guess I'll go first since I had the 6th pick. It was the first of the 3 of us, right? We'll
That's
just go through our toughest decisions round by round.
Okay.
And we'll talk through it, and we'll talk through the values. We'll see. Like, please, Matt, just understand the vibe of the show is we're not afraid to tell each other if we made a bad pick, if we would have picked somebody else,
I've got
whatever.
a lot of those.
Yeah. Please just be brutally honest.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're
Take
all
nothing
about.
to heart.
Yeah, you're right. We're not going to learn anything if we're not honest with each other.
Right.
That's right.
And a
And
crappy
it's okay to
trade
be
offer.
wrong.
I'm not even rejecting it. You can withdraw that yourself.
Oh, you know about that, don't you?
Yep.
All right, so for me, I had the 6th pick, and it was just going to be whichever of the top 6 quarterbacks fell to me. I assumed it was going to be Mahomes, and it was Mahomes. So I'm very happy to have Mahomes in the middle of the first round. There's a little bit of risk there, just because he hasn't been great the last 2 years, but I'm getting a guaranteed QB1. I know that, and I could be getting possibly the QB1. So for me, there was no question that I was going to take anybody else there. Does anybody disagree with that?
I have a question.
Sure.
Would you have rather had Mahomes and Brian Thomas or Jamar Chase and Justin Herbert?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Kind of how it felt.
Because that's how it would have. You could have taken what I guess everybody right now presumes the wide receiver 1 and had the elite position there, and then gotten Herbert or May, whichever way you preferred in that situation. But
I think I'll take what I have, because there's a chance. I mean, Brian Thomas was wide receiver 4 last year.
Yeah.
As a rookie. So there's a really good chance that
But he did most of his damage without T-Law. We do need to.
Okay, with Mac Jones. And I give Doug Peterson a lot of shit because his offense gets stale a lot, but he started moving Brian Thomas around and using him in ways he's never been used before. So yeah, you got to give him credit for that. But this is, I want to call him Liam Neeson. It's a creative offense, right? So I think the arrow is just pointed up for Brian Thomas, and Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas perfectly complement each other.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah.
I really like the way this offense is structured, and if you're telling me there's a chance that Brian Thomas could put up Jamar Chase numbers, I'm telling you that at their best, Herbert can't put up Mahomes' best.
In the current offenses, you're saying?
No, just
situations.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
right.
I was about to say, because Herbert's outscored. He's outdone what Mahomes has ever done. So I just wanted to make sure you're prefacing
right. And
Harbaugh's offense,
right, with the current coaching, right?
Yeah, I can get behind that.
I mean, if you put Herbert with Andy Reid, then yeah, absolutely, he could put up astronomical numbers.
I'm never going to knock a Mahomes pick, as long as it's preferably behind Josh Allen. Otherwise, I'm not going to knock it.
I just think there's more upside with what I picked, more trajectory to go up.
Okay. Yeah, I can see you're feeling like you're buying Mahomes a little bit cheaper than what you think he should be. I'm not sure how much more Brian Thomas could really go up, but I guess technically we could be discussing him at the 1-2 turn later this offseason even.
He could absolutely be a first rounder next year.
Yeah, he could.
And it's more, well, I guess since we're talking about Brian Thomas, that is the first tough decision that I had, right? And that was Brian Thomas, Pukas, or Genty.
Yeah, seeing Genty at 2.9 is
pretty crazy.
A little shocking to me considering what I've seen him go in other drafts.
I considered it. I'll be honest with you. I absolutely did.
Well, I think that's late. The other 2 startups I've seen, he's gone in the first.
Okay. Oh, really?
109 to like 204 has been like a lock in 12 teams.
Okay. Yeah, and I think Neil took him at 1.7 in P20. So he was right. He was the first non-quarterback off the board. No, Chase went 3. Excuse me. So he was the second non-quarterback off the board there. It's seeing him at 2.9s is kind of interesting, but I'm like you. I like getting the receiver first and figuring the rest out. So I like the BTJ pick.
Well, in retrospect, it led to running back problems. Like I've been chasing the position. Like I really haven't liked any spot for running back in this entire draft except for where I took Cook.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll be chasing running back with this team for a while now.
Me too.
So between BTJ, Puka, and Genti, Matt, who would you have taken?
I feel Puka's the safest, but also 2 years of safeness. Brian Thomas can exceed him, but Genti could be wide receiver 1. I still feel with Thomas, if T-Law gets it straightened out, but I also like you got the stack there, so I probably would have went Thomas, Genti, Puka. Just because I like wide receivers. I always wait too long on running backs. I almost went St. Brown, Gibbs, but later on I was thinking, could I get Goff? Then I pretty much have Detroit. And then I like Laporta, and where Laporta's going, that 3rd, 4th round area, I'm like, maybe I could get him on the way back. But
I'm not even all that big on stacks. That stack is I got that by accident. To be honest with you, I didn't even realize it until after I did it.
I feel you got good value with where you got T-Law.
Yeah.
Like I would have went Goff over him, but you have Mahomes, so you have that safety. Now you went for the home run as your 2, so it's kind of how I went with my quarterbacks.
All right, we'll get to that. Let's stay in the first round. And Austin, you took a tight end in the first round.
I did, not just a tight end. I took the tight end.
The tight end. You took him.
I did. I took Brock Bowers at 1.9 over Justin Jefferson, which received a lot of flack for all around.
Rightfully so.
But my counterpoint was he outscored Jefferson last year. Jefferson's going to be 26. Bowers is 22 or still might even be 21. What's to say he doesn't outscore him again this year at a position that's so much more difficult to find points at. So for me, it was going to be it's either Bowers or Caleb Williams in the first was where I was going to go because I like enough of the receivers from rounds 2 to 7. So I'm going to have a hot take as the season goes for some of these studs, especially if a couple of the younger guys keep producing or feel like they can. But I went with my guy. It was that simple. I got lucky, and the guy I was going to take counter to him fell to me in the second in Caleb Williams, so it worked out good.
So the counterpoint to he outscored Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson has scored those points in probably 3 different iterations of that offense. He's Justin Jefferson. He's going to do that no matter what. Bowers now has an entirely new offense, new coaching staff that is run first. Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll love to run the ball, right? And a new quarterback that may or may not choose to pepper him with the same amount of targets. Obviously, he's a great player and he's going to put up points. But like I said, the counterpoint, just playing devil's advocate, maybe he doesn't put up that kind of production.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't a ton of players to draw attention. So.
Yeah, it's a risky pick. There's no doubt about it. Anytime you take a tight end in the first round is scary. But what he did last year kind of it covers his safety, in my opinion. So even if he doesn't have as crazy of a year, aside from one of the rookies or maybe 2 or 3 young guys, he's still tight end 1 after the year.
Yeah, I'd have taken him one pick later. I'd have taken Jefferson over him. Yeah. So it's not like it's wild. Because if you look at the what went after him, I'm not taking a running back in the first round. That was Bijan. Personally, I'm not doing that.
I would have taken him at the turn because I had 2 picks.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But like, I wouldn't have went there with him. I would have definitely taken the receiver, and then Bijan second round.
Yeah, I would have taken Neighbors at 111. Looking at the board.
Yeah, Neighbors probably. Who would you have taken, Jefferson or Bowers, Matt?
So I possibly would have taken Bowers just because of the fact I have Jefferson shares in other leagues. He's great, but looking at Bowers' numbers of last year, even if he had 20 less catches, let's say his 90 for 1,105 touchdowns, that's what, 35 points less. It's what, 10 points difference from Jefferson, but then you're still an 80-point gap from tight end number 5.
Yeah.
So I like the positional advantage. Plus, I only have one Bowers share, so that would have gave me my second. So it's like I know I'm not going to be able to pay up for him, and it's like if I pay up for
He
a
is
tight end,
he's so expensive, man.
they're going to
God,
want a good tight end in return, and it's going to
Yeah.
be either McBride, Laporta, or one of the rookies this year. But then they're valuing that as late first, you know. Maybe 3
is.
years ago, Pitts might have, been interest to somebody, but now it's almost like toilet paper. Just
You've been
flush it.
You've been trying to pawn him off on me.
Hey, throw him
Yeah.
on a trade block every week.
Yeah. I saw you had interest in Laporta. It's not happening.
I should have pulled that trigger, 2 years ago with that offer, but I look back too much on things.
Well, how about
All
you
right.
look back at your turn at the 1-2?
Yeah, Matt. So you took Amon Ra and Amon Bra, as he's known on this podcast, and
No, that's just Jesse.
That's
and my eyes are bad because I'm old. Who is that? Malik Neighbors.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Talk about your picks. Are there other people you considered?
Bijan would have been a pick with St. Brown. I knew St. Brown was going to be picked regardless. That's just my guy since he was drafted. And pretty much all the leagues I have him in, you're going to have to pay ridiculous stuff to get him off my roster. He's probably going to retire on my fantasy teams. I would like to want Bijan and St. Brown. I thought about Caleb Williams too, but I was thinking I could get a decent one since it's third round reversal at 3-1, which I literally asked my wife to flip a coin and she did. So it was between Purdy and Love at 3-1. And I'm like, all right, we went there.
Wow.
But,
you let your wife make a pick.
hey,
Nice.
I like both the players. So it was a win-win, I guess.
My wife doesn't even know I'm drafting.
Oh, she knows I'm drafting. You're on your damn phone again? Who you trading now? I said, I didn't ask that question. Who am I picking? But yeah, it was Caleb. And then I had thought Lamb, but I'm just like, Neighbors' value is around Lamb. He's 4 years younger, and he did it with who at quarterback? Third stringers or XFL starters. So it's like,
Yep.
he's
if
got the
one of them
ceiling.
can be competent, the ceiling's absurd. It's
Yep.
yeah.
I'd
And then
have
with
taken,
Dart go in there. I like it. Like
I'd have
I don't.
taken Neighbors. Yeah, absolutely.
So I did think Gibbs, but I'm not a huge running back guy in the first 2 rounds. They burned me when I have mid picks in the first round. So
You just went with your boy, bro. You can admit it.
Yep.
It's okay. You took your boy.
St.
Amon
Brown
Ra.
was always going to be the pick there.
So
But,
did it scare you to think that, all right, I'm taking 2 wide receivers and there was a third round reversal. I forgot about that. So I guess it's
so
not
if it
quite as
wasn't
scary.
third round reversal, I would have definitely went St. Brown and Caleb Williams.
Okay.
So
Yeah, when you think there's 24 picks until I get to pick a quarterback, and then you kind of have to go 2 of them.
Yep, I
It's
would
really
have to
scary,
go
man.
3-4 with 2. So almost how I was thinking because I almost in round 3 took Nico. I went 3 straight receivers, but with it being 12 team super flex, you got to take one in the first 3 rounds at least.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable. Yeah, I was praying that I didn't get a late pick because I just really don't know what I would have done. I was really praying that I got a top 6 pick. Otherwise, I really was scuffling for a strategy.
Yeah, I
And
didn't have one, to be honest with you.
and to go back to your first question, I didn't know that Justin Herbert was going to fall to me in the second round, so I couldn't plan on taking Chase and in fact, I had Justin Jefferson above Chase, so it would have been him. So I didn't know Herbert would fall, and I'm not comfortable with Caleb as my QB1. No offense to you, Austin, or whatever. It's if I have the opportunity to have Mahomes as my number one, or the possibility that it's like Caleb or Drake May. I love Drake May, but that's scary as shit as my QB1. I really don't like that. I mean, Bo Nix went at 202.
Yep. 202.
Surprise of the draft.
Yeah, 8th quarterback off the board. But I mean, he finished QB7, so I guess we can't really. I mean, in theory, we shouldn't expect much of a downtick in production. Though I mentioned last week that I think he's probably one of my top progression candidates on the year. But yeah, I mean, in theory, that QB7 rookie after the first 4 weeks was brutal. I mean, he was pretty much on fire the remainder of the year. So, if you expect that to continue, there's no reason he shouldn't go in that area.
Sean Payton's always been pass happy. So Nix was 5, 6 in most pass attempts last year. So if he's in the top 10, I don't see why he can't finish top 10 in fantasy each year.
Yeah, especially uses his legs a lot more than
people think.
Yeah, exactly.
Ran the ball 92 times.
Is that why Lamb fell as far as he did? I guess it's a combination of Nix and then Amon-Ra going above him when he shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think you take out those two would be the two consensus guys that would probably typically be behind him. But
maybe
so
McBride.
You put him at that would be another one.
McBride may be late too, but
yeah. But you're saying so that's really the 2-3 if you're saying that, and that's kind of where I would have him realistically.
All right. So second round, Austin, we went over this neighbors. I mean, not neighbors. Caleb. Were there any other considerations there for you, or that was just bang?
It was Caleb and Herbert were the two real considerations. The other one was McBride. I thought about doing that, but I couldn't do it. I really did. I really thought about going Bowers McBride and just screwing with everybody.
And what would you do? Just start them both or trade one?
Absolutely. Yeah, heck yeah. In a league like this, you absolutely start them both. Trey McBride was ridiculous last year and had 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen again.
Right.
I think he's not going to end up regressing in the targets. He's Kyler's go-to. He's his check down.
Yeah, they didn't bring anybody real in. So MHJ can still get his targets bumped up some, and you still have McBride to do everything he needs to do. And like I said, the 1 touchdown thing's crazy. There's just no way he doesn't end up with 4 at least.
He actually had 2 last year, 1 in the last 2 games, but 1 during the regular season and playoffs for fantasy.
For fantasy, yeah.
So, but that's absurd.
But yeah, it was Caleb and Herbert for me, and I have so many Herbert shares that I went with Caleb. I took a little contrarian approach, and my goal was to get a QB2 that I felt comfortable with. Since Caleb is risky, but the ceiling to me is next year could be the 102, 103, kind of like where Daniels is.
Mm-hmm.
Like with that namesake, if he puts up a top 10 finish in fantasy, he's going to jump Mahomes. If Mahomes doesn't go crazy, he'll jump Hurts, could possibly jump Burrow. So there's a real chance that he's a top 2 or 3 startup pick next year. And I don't see many players have that ability.
All right. Yeah, if Ben Johnson didn't go to Chicago, are we having this discussion?
No, not to mention they brought in every weapon even more under the sun for him.
Right.
So and did pretty good on the O-line to
Yeah.
improve it, at least to be an NFL average.
Were they the ones that traded for Cam Robinson from Jacksonville?
No, that was Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, they traded for the Tooney, isn't that right?
Yeah.
From
Mhm.
KC. Yeah.
They got a good inside lineman there.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it is short term, it greatly improves his ability to stand in the pocket like he likes to do and try to extend the play.
And they're going to go 12 personnel a lot with Komet and Loveland.
I
Yeah.
think
I would
so
expect.
too.
Yeah, and even if they don't, then you're looking at DJ Moore, Dunze, and Burden. So there's weapons galore. The only thing they didn't really feel that we thought they would been a significant upgrade at running back, but they should be able to at least suffice to be league average at that.
Pretty sure Ben Johnson was the top 12 personnel, and that was with. Can you name Detroit's second tight end?
Was it Wright? Brock Wright?
It sure was. Look at my man go.
I was going to say James Mitchell.
It might have been him too at some point.
It was both of them when Laporta was out, but
Yep.
That's how you know their names when their main guy's out.
Well, they went a lot of 12 personnel with nobody you've ever even heard of last year, so
Yeah.
I would expect it in Chicago.
Yeah, those are two good tight ends too. That should work really well.
Could you see them pick up Nick Chubb and be kind of that bruiser guy like Montgomery was, and then you use Swift kind of in a Gibbs-like role?
Well, they already have a slow big guy,
Roshan.
Yeah. And they also drafted Common on guy, which is
another slow big guy.
Yeah,
a little big guy.
But Chubb wouldn't surprise me there at all, to be honest. I think that or even Dobbins, either one of those would be good kind of plotters to use to counteract Swift.
Yep.
That's so sad that Dobbins is a plotter now, huh?
I know. Who you telling? Been my guy forever.
Yeah, right on. Man, that class just did not work out the way it was supposed to, huh? That was supposed to be like best running back class ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, injuries zapped away one of them. That's the problem.
All of them.
True. I mean, Dobbins was averaging like 6.2 yards per carry his first year and a half in the league.
I mean, at least JT was a league winner at the end of last year.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really good. I'm not a JT fan at all. I know Matt is.
I am. I've been for a long time.
He had 1,400 yards rushing last year, and I feel like
in
nobody's talking
14
about it.
games.
He was so good last year.
Yeah,
especially at the end when it mattered. And then Cam Akers with the Achilles.
That was my guy. I had him in a lot of places.
And Swift, I think, just needs LASIK. I think that's his injury problem.
He must have. I think he lost his confidence. I think Detroit's Deuce Staley. I think he killed his confidence personally. Because you watch him at Georgia, he didn't have vision issues. If anything, that was one of his pluses, in my opinion, is his ability to one cut into that hole and just go.
I mean, he did a lot of it in Philly. He was very decisive, and lowered his head. And then I think there's something about him in the locker room that doesn't click with guys, because
it might be.
He kind of got benched for no really good reason.
Right.
Well, also the offense fell apart as a whole.
Yeah, it sure did.
But anyway, Matt, at the top of the third round, you talked about taking Purdy. You flipped a coin with Love, and then Love went next. So that had to be validating for you, at least. You were picking between the two right guys.
I knew he wouldn't last past 304.
That is true. That is an accurate statement.
You're a Love guy, Austin?
In that situation, absolutely. He was the last one to me that had that QB1 feel that wasn't at 30 years old.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And then, I would have taken him above who I did take if he was there.
All right. So, and there was no other positional consideration, Matt, than quarterback there?
I had to kind of go QB there, but it was Nico. I was thinking Love and Purdy was going to go 12, to be honest. So it would have been like, oh, shoot, London and then Nico. But I kind of figured London would go to Chad.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
London guy.
Oh yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah.
So
I saw that coming a mile away.
he's steady, and why not have a guy that's going to probably be linked with the starting quarterback and Penix? Well, they're both there the next
Yeah.
10 years. You
I
know what I
mean,
mean? So
Yeah.
London was really good with
I
Penix
know
there.
he was great, actually. 10 plus targets every game over the last 5, and
I
then
think he averaged 17 plus a game with Penix.
last 2 games 13 and 18. But
at the same time, it didn't look that good for Penix.
No, his footwork was really bad, to be honest.
There were some erratic throws. I mean, he definitely has the arm. The arm looked good.
Oh yeah,
He's
it's
got some
super
zip on
live.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming in cold too, though, after sitting all season. So
Mm-hmm.
give
Yeah,
him
but
the
I
off
think
season. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Go through the full
Sure.
program, be the starter in preseason. See what happens. But yeah, I actually like Penix more than. I mean, I'll take Cam Ward over Penix just because he's a better player. But I like Penix better than, say, like, probably.
don't say
Nah,
that.
he's at, actually, to be honest, he's at the bottom of that tier.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's kind of.
I think
I
it's
agree.
McCarthy. I haven't seen McCarthy play in the league, but he's got those weapons, man, that you just can't deny.
Yep.
You know, and the coaching that I just am so super confident in.
Yeah, if Kevin O'Connell says he's good, I say he's good.
Yeah,
That's
right,
kinda-
exactly.
Right.
In O'Connell we trust. Like it's just that simple for me until he proves me otherwise. But like he made Josh Dobbs worth Najee Harris in a league. So like for me, that was all I needed to know that dude can coach any quarterback. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just gotta believe until you see otherwise.
True.
He's a guy I tried to buy in a lot of leagues recently, McCarthy. But
Yeah, I've tried to sell him, and it's like people don't want to pay. People want to pay a late first, but to me, he's at least to me he's with Cam Ward. Like I don't know why he wouldn't be in that same tier. So when I see, for me it's more of like I want him in that 104 to 107 range is kind of what I was looking to sell him for, and I
Cam
didn't
Ward's
get any bites.
Cam Ward's a much better prospect.
Sure.
I don't think JJ McCarthy goes 1 overall in any draft.
Well, I think Cam only goes 1 overall in this draft or the Pickett draft. I think we're.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't think Cam Ward's a significant, crazy prospect personally.
No, he's not crazy, but he's better than JJ McCarthy as a prospect.
I
JJ
agree.
is more theoretical and projection. He didn't really do it much in
Yeah,
college.
but he also went to Tennessee, and the other one went to Minnesota. So if
True.
I'm splitting hairs on the prospect side, give me the situation.
Okay, fair enough.
like Ward's got, he's got 2 vets, Lockett and Ridley.
Ugh.
Yeah,
God.
you know what I'm saying? Like, ugh.
Ugh. God, it's disgusting.
Maybe 3 years ago for each of them. Oh,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have had Ridley, but
Yeah, we had to go 4 for Ridley. Yeah, we had to go 4
Ridley.
for Ridley.
And what did they add? Gutter Helm?
Yeah, in the 4th, and that's really it.
Chig's
And,
pretty good at tight end.
And Shamari Dyke in the 5th or 6th.
He's super raw.
Yeah, and Restrepo undrafted. So like,
a step slow. Xavier a step slow.
yeah, exactly him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
the
just
weapons are-
it feels like it's going to be a bad year for Cam Ward.
Maybe-
Unless he's just that good of a player, and that is possible.
Yeah.
We've seen quarterbacks completely, elevate an entire offense, just like CJ Stroud year 1. I mean, he basically either Nico happened to hit at the perfect time, which is possible, or
There's that.
Stroud helped develop Nico to who he is.
Tank
So
Dell
it's-
played really good there as well as a rookie.
For sure. Speaking of Nico, in my 3rd, that's who I took. 3-4. I'd kind of thought quarterback, like Kyler felt like a question there. I thought T-Law. I probably should have thought Baker. He went in the pick after me, and having Caleb and Baker would have been a nice 1-2. But I really didn't want to come out of the top 36 picks without a receiver.
And
I
you
do
were
like,
just talking about 30-year-old quarterbacks.
yeah, exactly. In the third, that doesn't feel great, but he feels super safe. He feels like I should get low end QB1 production, and it kind of counterbalances the Caleb. I don't know what I'm gonna get out of it.
You know, he's going to
Um,
throw close to 600 times.
yeah,
But-
So, they hired within for the OC, so it should be a really similar offense. But yeah, I just went with Nico so I could get me an alpha wide receiver. I didn't feel like there were really any true alphas left out after Nico. Some guys that we think can be and some guys that might be, but I kind of felt like he was the true last alpha that could give me that top 5 production and feel somewhat confident about it.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
But what'd you do in the third, Jesse?
Yeah, so for me, it was JSN. It was really, really tough decision here. So actually, I made a list. Let me bring up my list.
This is the old man list. That way he can't forget.
Yeah, it was JSN. Barkley went before I picked, right? Yeah, he went before I picked, but
Yeah, he did.
if he had fallen, it would have been a really tough decision there as well. And A-Chain.
Yeah.
A-Chain went right after you.
Yeah, who went to pick
So,
after. So,
You know,
and then Laporta went after that. He was not a consideration for me here. He is way too volatile, touchdown dependent. He's not necessarily going to get tons of volume. Just last year was scary as hell for me with JSN, and now it's a new.
You mean with Laporta?
I mean Laporta. Sorry, it's a new offensive coordinator. It's really scary. So JSN was the safest high end player in that range. I also considered Omarion Hampton a little, but I'm just not taking a rookie. And then I was really hoping that Bucky Irving would come back to me in the 4th round, and he didn't. He went to pick 4.
I tried to
Choose
trade
somebody on this podcast.
up.
Oh, is that? Oh, you traded up and
Yeah.
sniped me. Yeah. I got sniped so many times in this draft. It's just when you're drafting with other really good dynasty players, especially if you're going in the middle, it's going to happen constantly.
It does.
I was trying to trade up to 308 where A-Chain was taken to take Bucky.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. So those are the guys that I was considering. What would you guys have done?
It'd have been between JSN and A-Chain for me. Looking back, I probably would have rather taken A-Chain because I felt like some more receivers would have fallen to you. You wouldn't have had to take Cook. You might not have taken Lawrence. You could have gone, AJ Brown, get your boy there in the 4th round. That being said, you can't go wrong with starting with Brian Thomas and JSN at receiver, 2 young studs that you should feel really good about. So I have no really quarrels with it.
In the end, the reason I didn't take A-Chain was exactly what you just said, is that I could get Cook 2 rounds later. And I think the production could be pretty similar. And I also think the ride with Cook is a lot smoother. It's really, really bumpy for a chain.
I think Ollie Gordon could actually get some run with Mostert now with the Raiders.
More
of a backup.
It's possible.
Am I able to mute you?
Oh,
I am.
I'm not a Ollie
Watch
fan.
the Ollie Gordon talk.
I like him. I'm not saying he's going to have a huge split, but if he could get like 30% running back share, A-Chain's still going to be in the slot. He's going to be on the field.
I mean, if you want to actually talk about competition for A-Chain, I'll entertain Jalen Wright, but don't.
Why?
Because I think he's actually a decent back. He's got speed is what they look for.
Yeah,
one cut ability. He can definitely run zone scheme. He ran it in Tennessee. I think he just was behind 2 other backs last year. Did not look bad when he was on the field.
Yeah, he's just not as good. But
no, he's not as good. But I think he could get some run behind a chain. And
I mean, somebody's going to have to because
exactly
can't handle 400 touches. So
no,
somebody's going to have to. And it's probably going
And
to be Alexander Madison, and we're all going to be upset.
yeah, I was just thinking that too earlier today when I was
Yep.
reviewing my Jalen Wright take and moving him up and down in my queue for the startup. Actually, I'm like,
Yeah, it's probably going to be Madison, who fits this offense so much better than he did the Raiders. I never understood that free agent decision to
he
go
does.
there.
I mean, he does
Yeah.
fit this offense. It's not that
Perfectly. Yep.
far off
Yep.
from Minnesota, to be honest with you. So
Yep.
the running scheme is absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't dropped a single share of Madison when I've been cutting through trying to pick up rookies because I actually feel like he's going to be the number 2 guy there.
I think I've cut him in a league just recently.
He's an easy name to cut because it
Yeah.
felt disgusting on the Raiders. God, it looked so bad.
I got to go back up and see if I did.
But as we make it through any of these picks in the third, I know Jamie brought up asking if we thought Travis Hunter at 311 was early.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken him before Garrett Wilson or McMillan in this league.
You
No
wouldn't have
IDP
taken
here.
above Tet? Why?
No
wouldn't have
IDP here. It just
Okay.
kind of removes the risk of what usage we're going to see. I like Hunter, the receiver, better. But until I see it on the field, there is a little bit of worry that he's not going to get that 80 to 90% snap share that we're going to need to see that. In this instance, this is wide receiver 1 territory. You know, at 311, you expect your receiver to be the one on your team more times than not. So there's just a little bit of worry there.
Yeah, it's actually for any rookie wide receiver, it's too early for me. It sounds weird, but I had more. I have more confidence in rookie running backs early in a draft, even though I'm not really going to take running backs early in a draft. But like I said, I did consider Hampton a little bit, not seriously.
I think Hampton over Brees, and really Hampton over Bucky. I would have went Bucky over Hampton.
I'd have gone.
But
Bucky
I'm fine. I'm fine with Hampton over Brees. Them being flip a coin. It's just the Jets always. They're always going to be the Jets.
I realized during the startup, I'm very high on Bucky early. I have easily taken him in the third round.
If he would have started from the beginning, he would have finished right after Barkley and Henry last year.
And they didn't bring anybody in. There's no other real worries. I know Jesse loves Sean Tucker, but he's not a threat.
I do love
Jesse
Sean Tucker.
hates Rashad White, but he's also not a threat.
I think Sean Tucker more run than White this year, to be honest.
I think he's the real running back too on Tampa.
The problem is Rashad White might be the best pass blocking running back in the league, so they're not going to take him off the field for that. He is so good.
Travion Henderson's in the league now.
So. You're correct, but I have to see it first. On tape, you're absolutely right. Travion is a ridiculous pass blocker.
So good.
But I got to see it in the league first. So right now, Rashad White holds that throne for me.
I mean, Vrabel saw it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Vrabel's just freaking dying to get that guy on the field. All right. So you guys have, mentioned it that I took Trevor in the fourth.
Mm-hmm. It made me sad.
Yeah,
it would have been Bucky if he was there. That was a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to take Bucky and then take whatever slop fell to me at QB2. But
it would have been ugly, man. If you look, it would have been ugly.
It would have.
Tua, Fields, Darnold.
Oh,
it would have been Tua.
Okay, I would have been fine with that. I actually thought that Tua might have come back to me, and obviously I'm fine with Tua. I considered him here. So it was Trevor, Bryce, or Tua. I ruled out Tua because I have tons of shares. To me, the risk between the three of them is pretty equal. Trevor, we've seen do it, multiple 4,000-yard seasons, but we've also seen him not do it and look terrible not doing it. And same with Bryce. We saw Bryce over a nice stretch last year, look really good, like a QB1. And then we've seen him just be hesitant and like not a QB at all.
Yeah, at all.
Not an NFL quarterback. So there's risk for both of those guys. And for Tua, we know that if he's in there, he's going to put up points, and there's no risk as far as his play. The risk is the health.
Yeah.
So all of those are very difficult to project. I took Trevor because of and Tua was ruled out because I have too many shares. So of the two of those guys, Trevor has the better weapons. He has the more
Why
defined,
wasn't
more
golf in that discussion for you?
age.
Okay.
He had his floor guy with Mahomes at 29. I understand it completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I already had right. So if I had taken a riskier, younger quarterback early, then yeah, I definitely would have been looking for like an older anchor
Makes
quarterback
sense.
later.
That makes perfect sense. In the fourth, I took Jared Goff. I was praying Kyler somehow fell to me, and of course
Mhm.
Mike took him as his third quarterback in the fourth round. We're not going to gloss over that, Mike. I don't know if you're listening or not, but he started Lamar, Herbert, and then took Marvin Harrison in the third, which is awesome pick, and then
Yeah.
went right back and took Kyler at 4-3. What a dickhead!
Yeah, I forgot about
But
that. Yeah, I was praying that Kyler fell to me. Kyler would have been
Yeah.
such a value to me in the fourth.
But the value in the fourth, you just can't pass Kyler, and I get it totally. But we know he's going to trade him. He'll down tier, get a better player somewhere else, and take a different third.
So what had happened there, I had made the trade thinking Kyler was still on the clock. I was at work.
Oh shit.
And I traded up, and I'm like, oh, Mike with this third quarterback. I'm
Yeah.
like, sheesh. And then I'm like, well, Q, let me look at my queue, and it had Bucky there and then AJ Brown. I'm just like, yep, Bucky. So
Yeah, Mike
it
screwed
was
us
a
all.
rough.
Is what we're hearing. And he's
Yeah.
not here to defend himself, so we can talk as much crap as we want.
I assumed Kyler wasn't going to make it to me. I couldn't believe that he was already like he was still there.
Yeah, I
on
think
the
that was
board.
probably the biggest drop in the draft. Looking at it, Kyler in the fourth, but I will say it fits his value right now. As someone who has shares that have kind of shopped for looking for like a, maybe I want to get a McCarthy share or even a Penix or a Bryce or Cam Ward. They're not much different in value.
They should be. They should
I
be
I agree,
all lower.
but
I
they
mean,
they aren't what I thought they would be whenever I was trying to down tier.
Kyler was QB 10 last year, coming off a major injury.
Yeah, but he didn't look good. I will say that. Like he didn't look good.
It was
And then
bumpy.
some weeks he looked perfect. Like it's kind of, I guess, it's what we've come to expect with Kyler. But yeah, I mean, still the 403, it's insane value. You had to take him, but also still screw you, Mike. It's kind of have to keep
Yeah.
that thrown in there.
All right, maybe we should speed it up a little.
Yeah.
What did you do in the fourth?
I took golf. It was as I kind of like I
Right.
said with
Yeah.
Caleb. I just wanted the safe QB2, which could easily be my QB1.
I'd have done the exact same thing. Like, there's no way I'm going McCarthy with Caleb.
Couldn't do
That's
it.
scary. That's just not a
Yeah.
good way to build a team. There's too much built-in risk.
Yeah, and once Kyler went and T-Law went, it was really just golf. So I was praying between your pick and mine that nobody took golf.
So if someone had taken Goff, would you have taken Tua?
No.
God,
No,
I can't pin you down.
Tua's way down on my board for me. I probably honestly would have taken Bryce and then come back around the other way and taken Dak.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably what I would have done. Instead, I did it the other way, and I'll go ahead and say my fifth since we're there. Is I took Bryce in the fifth, so I kind of got two risky plays that have what I would call high upside with Caleb and Bryce, and then took golf as my safe play. Is I feel good every week that he should get what I expect.
So you're giving Mike shit about taking 3 QBs in the first 4 rounds, but you take 3 QBs in the first 4 rounds.
5 rounds, thank you.
5 rounds, okay.
Yeah, it's way better. It's completely different.
It's way more better.
What's funny is when I took Bryce, I thought really hard. I was like, I just gave Mike a ton of shit. And then in literally the same day, within about 2 hours, I did the exact same thing. But that's okay.
It's something that I've not been able to bring myself to do this entire draft is take a QB3 because it's a starting position. When you get to this point in the draft, though, where you're drafting your last flex player, there's nobody there. If you've taken a quarterback,
not in this league. There is not. I mean, we're looking at Dylan Gabriel just went in the 13th round.
Yeah, so that's a position I'm going to have to work out. I just know that coming out of the draft, I'm not gonna affect my team. I'm not gonna send ripples down the rest of my roster because I reached it. Not saying Bryce is a reach. I'm just saying for me, at the positions that at the spots I was presented, every QB3 was kind of a reach, and I just wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, after you took T-Law, they just kind of went off the board. You would have had to have taken Tua basically within the next round or two. Is what you would have had to have done. After that, it gets ugly quick.
I'd do that in a 2 QB league, but
oh yeah,
otherwise I'm not.
I think 2 QB league, you're seeing T-Law go where Laporta went, late third. Kyler probably mid early third. Then
yeah, it makes more sense. I'd have probably had to take a QB in the third. I mean, I was being a little obstinate about it, to be honest, not taking one, but it worked out.
It did, as long as none of them get hurt.
All right, so Matt, you took McCarthy.
Yep.
And then you doubled up.
I took Bucky at 405. I traded 501 up.
Okay. All right, that's cool. So you covered 2 positions. What'd you pay to trade up? A first? A 26 first?
A second, actually. 501 and a second for 405.
Oh, that's not bad.
A second to move up, 7, 8 picks.
Yeah.
And then after I did that and took Bucky, Austin sent me a message. Oh, Jesse's going to hate you. I'm like, well, shoot.
How'd you know I was going after Bucky?
I didn't. I was trying to move up.
Yeah, he didn't know until after.
I
just knew you wanted to share. I remember you talking about it. I think it was last week.
Okay.
You were just talking about how you were ready for a Bucky share. And like I could just the way the board was, it looked like Bucky was the perfect pick for your roster.
Yeah, he was.
And then I saw him take it and I was like, yep, Jesse's not gonna be happy.
I was gonna go Bucky then Tua and just be happy. You know, just let my son come in and save my roster.
I will say in my 5th, this was probably the hardest pick of the draft for me between Bryce and Travion. I probably should have taken Travion looking back because I don't really have a comfortable RB1 unless one of the guys I have comes out good. But getting that third quarterback, I just couldn't resist. And I'm a homer, so I just took the homer pick there. Do you think I made a mistake?
I mean, who's your... Hold on.
Matt, you can chime in if you...
So Caleb Johnson and James Conner.
Yep.
That's a little rough.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, especially to start the year with Caleb, you don't know if he's going to get carries right away. We hope that he just hits the ground running, but
I don't think Warren is going to do anything more than what he did with Najee there.
Yeah. It feels like a plug-and-play replacement, like the back and everything. But it is risky.
I always go back to like Jonathan Taylor's first season. It took him 6 games to be anything, you know. So
yeah,
that could just it could be a rough start at running back. You're definitely gonna have to. I mean, I'm with you. You know, that's my biggest worry on my roster besides third QB, which I'm not really worry. I don't understand why Chad took Tyler Shuck. Does you understand, Chad, that that's my boo?
Well, he then traded it.
Oh, he traded it?
Nolan.
Oh, he traded it to Penolan. Oh.
Yeah.
He ended up getting Sanders in like round 14. So he got 14 and Sanders for Shuck.
Yeah.
I would have probably did that.
Yeah, I'm sure that was his exact plan when he got the trade offer. He's like, all right, well, I'll just take Sanders here, and one of the rookies will likely hit.
I took Shador. Well, can we talk about Penolan a little bit? Are you guys friends with him personally?
Nah, I'm in a ton of leagues with him, and he does this every single startup.
Does he?
Trades his pick, builds a crazy roster, gets the guys he wants, and typically does decent. If it backfires,
3, and then
it's a crazy method. But I will say, man, in startups, it typically works. Them first 2 years, he's usually pretty good.
He traded in and out of his own pick twice.
Yeah, he did.
I did notice that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. So the 7th and the 9th round, he traded out and traded back in. Got Darnold and Monty. I'm sure that it absolutely cost him more than if he had just.
Yeah. Well, he traded up to get Genty. That was the whole thing that started everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should. It is crazy. It is crazy. And we also had a guy in the league. You always have a guy in every startup that wants to trade down constantly. So we had Remdog that's constantly wanting to trade down, and Pinolan that's constantly wanting to trade up. So there's a lot of fireworks. It was at least fun to watch.
It was.
It didn't even take all that long. So
Like
I wasn't even upset about it.
P. Nolan's picks were questionable. Picks as in trades too as well. But
I can't
overall,
even
he
tell.
built a good team.
I can't even tell. I don't even know what his team looks like.
I'm trying to see if I can.
I clicked on it here.
Oh.
So he's got Chase, Lamb, and McConkey, and then Genty and A-Chain, Mixon, and Montgomery. And then he has Penix, Sam Darnold, and Shock. So his QBs are very
scary to say the least.
Garbage.
And then he has Pat F and Kraft at tight end. My thing is when me and Austin were talking when he traded up for Montgomery, I'm like, he has to get Stafford here.
And he did.
Having Darnold, Penix, and Stafford, I would have felt a lot better about that, but not great. But Stafford can still, in my eyes, finish top 10, top 12 if he stays healthy and Kyron doesn't get the 16 one-yard touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what he's good for anyway. So
he's got a
pretty good starting roster.
He's got pieces. He could definitely move Lamb, tear that down, and get a,
yeah, he'll end up
a McCarthy, a Dak, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you get a Dak and I don't know, maybe an Olave if he's hurt.
Which is pretty likely.
Yeah. But he doesn't
any
have
other
first
picks
the next 2 years
that y'all made that were really hard. We won't go round around the rest of the way. It's kinda got the big stuff. Any other picks that you were really struggling on?
I was sitting on Hawk, so that wasn't hard. Yeah, between Zay Flowers, Addison, and DJ Moore, that was a really tough call.
Why'd you pick Zay?
I don't know. I was at work.
Fair enough.
Afterwards, I was pissed at myself that I didn't take DJ Moore, and then about an hour later, I was pissed that I didn't take Addison. I have the buyer's remorse.
I had that right there in 2 rounds prior. Well, end of round 6-12. I fat fingered at work. I thought I grabbed Worthy and Fields. And it was Harvey and Fields, but I'm just like,
that screwed me all up.
It screwed me up.
Oh, so I wasn't getting Harvey anyway.
No.
Oh, okay. I wanted you to go ahead and just take who you wanted, Matt. I was going to champion your.
Yeah, I think we all wanted that. It's because like 4 people instantly said, "Yeah, man, go ahead and change it. It's fine." And he was like, "Nah, never mind. I'm good." In my head, I was like, "Shit," because my prayer in that round was to go Waddle Harvey. Like that was the prayer. Oh, it was going to be perfect, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, I guess. Where did Caleb go? Oh, Caleb went way earlier, right?
No, Caleb 3 picks before Zay.
Yeah.
So 7th round.
Yeah. Yeah, I took Caleb because I had to have
Caleb
Harvey
was the other one. Caleb was the other one. I was going to take Harvey or Caleb, whoever came back to me, and neither one did. So, and then I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll take my third quarterback in Darnold, and then Pinolan trades in right in front of me. Take him. So I'm like, all right, well, Zay Flowers, I guess.
I like Zay with what was left on the board.
Dalton Kincaid is kind of a swing, in the 8th round.
Fine about that.
Yeah,
I would have took Kincaid over Andrews.
Yeah, that was one of the picks. Mike's draft's really interesting. I would have loved to have asked him what his thought process was because I really liked the first 5 picks like a ton, and then he went really 4 picks in a row, or 5 that were like super questionable to me, like for what he had built to start. with McCaffrey, Tyreek, Mark Andrews, and Pitts, which Pitts in the end of the ninth, who cares? That's fine. But those 3 picks after what I felt like he built, they're just so volatile. So I would have loved to have asked him what his kind of thought. If it was just, I'm going to take the vets and try to score points.
Yeah, he's Mike.
Man,
He likes old guys.
that is true.
And
Yeah,
also
which he'll
with
probably
all
take Cup
this-
coming. Oh, nope. Matt
Nope,
took
I
he's
Cup.
gone.
Never mind. Yeah.
I went with some old guys the last 4 of 5 rounds,
I see that.
or 5 of 6 rounds, if you really want to say that.
I couldn't believe Kelsey lasted that long.
I can't believe he went after Jonnu, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a little silly.
Which I traded up as well to the 1005 because I wanted to make sure I got Ferguson. So I have Kelsey and Ferguson. And the Ferguson for Dallas, that is.
Right. Yeah, the one that's definitely a starter.
So
How about
the only
you,
other
Austin?
I have to defend. I'm sure if anybody ever knows me, knows how much I love Brandon Ayuk, and how much I believe in him. And then in this draft, I took Ricky Pearsall first, above him. Literally, it was
pick
between
4.
those 2 players. And one, I have so many shares. That was kind of the big thing with me. The second thing was I'd just taken Jalen Waddle, which I also have quite a bit of shares of, and I didn't want to go Waddle Ayuk in back-to-back receiver parts, and those would have been my 2 and 3. Which, if they're healthy and they play good, sure, but if not, I have 2 depreciating assets. So I kind of wanted to take a shot with Pearsall. I don't think I have any shares unless I took over an orphan for somebody that had them. So I just kind of wanted to share and wanted to see what happened. But the plan was to take a vet on the swing to kind of counteract Pearsall, and taking Sutton, it worked out just fine.
Right on.
He
I can
played
understand
well.
that.
to
I had
finish
Pearsall
out
in
the
that
last
range.
4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that one at all.
I was very high on Pearsall before he got shot.
Yeah, you were really high.
So and then he came back and played really well at the end of last year for a couple games. So
And that was with Debo. So
well,
yeah.
the corpse of Debo.
Yeah. Jamie says he's out on Ayuk coming off the injury, which is the scary part. But he also says getting up in age. I mean, he just turned 27, so like that really doesn't scare me. Assuming he returns to health, we should expect 2 to 3 years of the same kind of production and athletic profile. So I mean, assuming the ACL and stuff is just an ACL, the hope is by midseason this year we see the same kind of player.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be next year by the time he's really Brandon Ayuk again.
Yeah, which is fair.
Which makes him difficult for me to take in a startup. I like him a lot, and I like it. I love his value right now. But I have a lot of shares because of that. So I'm kind of good where I am.
Yep. Other than that, I didn't really have anything that I really struggled with. Connor falling to me was awesome. The tight ends are just kind of dart throws that they're kind of my guys for the year at this stage. A lot of tight ends went. I probably should have taken one somewhere, but having Bowers, I kind of felt safe and just took Mason Taylor. And Jesse's guy, Brenton Strange, believes he can be the one. So if he's not, then I'm going to blame Jesse. And if he is, I'm going to give myself credit. So it works out good.
He was solid with Mac Jones. I'm not saying he was great. Exactly. He was solid. So like
he put up some decent points last year when he got a chance.
He's gonna be 1-on-1 in the middle of the field.
They took him in the second round.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it wasn't these guys. It wasn't this regime that took him in the second round. But still, Trevor loves him. So
yeah, he was the target in the red zone, even with Ingram on the field.
That's true. That did happen. All right, so let me ask you guys this. I'm up in 3 picks. Who would you take?
Let's look at the quarterbacks available. Derek Carr looks like a good option. I know how much you love Aaron Rodgers, so that may be a good one.
Okay, no. I'm not taking.
I mean, honestly, I think Najee's as good of option as any. I'm not super high on Amarian, so I think Najee still sees a lot of touches this year.
This year.
Jawan Jennings is an obvious guy for this year.
I like
Um,
Shaheed.
You're a Saints fan, Matt? Unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
is he going to be healthy? Have you heard anything? Do we know? Is he going to be ready to go? Do we have any? I haven't seen anything, but I'm hoping you got an insider for us.
I don't have an insider, but
Mm.
4 to 6 month recovery, and he had surgery during the season last year. So
Okay, so he should be good.
he should be good for training camp and everything there.
Okay.
He was always a deep threat worth a third round rookie pick to me, and now that he's coming off injury, he's not draftable.
I mean, he out targeted Olave when they were both healthy, so might not be just a deep threat.
Well,
and that was with Derek Carr, an actual real quarterback. So maybe apparently not a good one, but
he ain't a real quarterback.
Entirely different offense. Olave was completely misused in that offense, by the way.
I can definitely see Kellen Moore utilizing him, but it's also, Jawan Jennings. I thought about that, but I'm like, give me Cooper Kupp. If I get a year of solid targets, well, a year. Let me get 12 games out of him.
Yeah.
All right, let me give you some names.
Dallas Goedert. Why? That's your name.
Yep.
He's pretty far down on my list.
What?
This is last year in Philly.
Cade Otton, I don't hate that, but you got 4 guys there at the receiver area.
Yeah.
He could still, take some catches until maybe Godwin. Hopefully he's ready.
Tillman, Arroyo, Coker, Jalen Noel, Terrence Ferguson. Any of those excite you? Ray Davis, since I have James Cook.
You and your backups, my man. I love it.
It's a little early for me to be taking.
I mean, I'm a cokehead. I'm scared of what their offense is gonna like. What receivers are gonna get usage. So I'm a little hesitant on that for production, but for the player, I mean, I think he's the best player you mentioned out of the group.
I'm sorry, who?
Jalen Coker. I just don't know if you're gonna get the production this year with that receiving room.
Yeah. All right. So last question, I guess, and then we'll get out of here. Jamie wants to know, are we in on Kyle Williams?
Yeah.
I drafted him a few times. I took him like mid third round, early third round and won, and I've seen him go as early as like 207.
He's worth a third round pick to me. If he hits, it's gonna be unlike anybody else ever, though.
I agree.
He's like this not tiny, but he's a smaller tackle breaker. So like you see people can either compare him to like Addison or Debo, right? So they're two entirely different players where he actually is a much better route runner than Debo and much smaller. He actually can separate and get open. Can catch the ball. Like he's got good hands. It's going to be weird if he hits. You just have never seen anything quite like it. So that makes me think that it's a little doubtful.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I have him
I am
at 6. I
I'm
had
a
him at
fan
6
too, because
pre-draft. So
if he does hit, it's going to be fun as hell to watch because you're going to see a guy that can separate and then break tackles afterwards.
Would you kind of say he's like
what Jamar Chase does?
Jaden Reed?
No.
Like a shifty after the catch type guy, but a more polished route runner.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it makes sense. I guess they're both smaller.
Yeah.
Body type wise. But I think he's much more polished than Jaden Reed.
Yeah, he's a very good receiver. He should win that wide receiver 2 role in New England. He unfortunately made me drop all my Javon Baker shares, which is so sad.
Who's winning the wide receiver 1 role?
Diggs will have it to start the season.
Oh, Diggs. Okay. What, Diggs isn't going to play to start the season? Is he?
Even better then. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I assume it'll take him a while.
How do you guys feel about Downs?
I would love him. I mean, I think he'll be decent once Daniel Jones comes in. If they had a good quarterback, I think he's the best receiver on the team.
He
So
is.
do you say he's similar to Kyle Williams?
No,
Or
they're
is Downs
different.
more?
Yeah, I mean, I think Downs is shiftier, whereas Kyle Williams is a little more physical.
Yeah.
I say Downs is like what Austin always wanted Elijah Moore to be.
That's the Jets' fault.
That is. And look, all the
And the
receivers at the
Like,
Jets just
And the Browns.
The Jets and the Browns. Like you can't now. Now he has a real quarterback. The only problem is he's got 4 other slot receivers, but
Yeah.
his time to shine is coming.
I hate the Bills. Why do they do this to us?
I guess death by 1,000 paper cuts is their plan.
It's the absolute worst build of a wide
They
receiver.
have the
room.
strongest armed quarterback in the league, and like, hey, let's just give us 6 underneath guys, and then a big receiver who's also an underneath guy, but we're gonna play him at the X.
All right. Well, I guess we got to get out of here pretty quickly. Matt, it was really nice having you, man. I appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on.
heck yeah.
Yeah.
Short notice. It was really
Yeah.
fun talking to you.
I appreciate you having me. Maybe another pod.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, you're welcome back anytime. All I really have is for the last week, Thunderbolts, thumbs sideways. I enjoyed it because it was a Marvel movie, but it's really, the plot is just oof. And then like huge thumbs up is, I mean, this is The Last of Us. That's what I call it now. God, man. I caught up on that show. Jesus, I wasn't prepared for all that.
No, you were not.
Even though y'all spoiled it for me.
But it was really hard not to. And I definitely forgot you hadn't watched this week whenever I just said that. And I was, as soon as I sent it, I was like, Jesse's in here, and I bet he hadn't watched that yet. And you were like, oh, I just finished episode 1. I was like, oops.
Yeah. Anyway, anything good for you guys on TV, movies?
No.
No.
And my wife watch a couple shows, but they're more her thing.
Murder?
A couple of them. Yeah. The Rookie. Pretty
Okay.
good show. And then I watched A Working Man. It's a movie with what is his name? Jason Statham.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
This is a
Same
pretty good
rules as
movie.
always.
Yep. Just whoop ass.
That Bee Killer movie he does.
Oh, that was really good.
That's
Yep.
a really good movie.
Jamie
Came
says
out
he
about
watched Gladiator 2. It really was one of the worst movies. It was so ridiculous.
Oh, that sucks. That's because they have Pedro Pascal being the gladiator. Like, that's not who he is.
Denzel.
Really good actor, but not who he is.
Denzel just, it was so out of place. It was just ridiculous. And they didn't even they didn't even know who his character was, the writers. It was awful. All right, y'all. Anything else?
That is all, sir.
All right. Thanks again.
Let's rip some
And
packs.
right on.
I ain't got no
It's been
packs.
working.
Peace.
Front office.